The Joe Rogan Experience.
The amount of backlash and shit I got when I started and had a show out was brutal. It was brutal.
I didn't know you then. I met you at the Laugh Factory. I remember I met you at the Laugh Factory. I had already been kicked out of the Comedy Store, and it was during my time where I was doing other clubs. So it was somewhere around like 2007-ish or something like that.
Upstairs.
I met you. So I don't remember where I met you, but I remember
like you were
saying,
in
"Can
the
I get a
corner
hug?"
crying. Yeah, it's so weird to think that because I was at the Comedy Store when you were not, and you were still such a big presence there in a way that it's because Ari was there. You know, it just was. I don't know. I felt like I knew you maybe before I knew.
Yeah, that was a weird time. It was a weird time for you too, because like there was a lot of people hating on you because of your show, because it was so big. Like you had these giant billboards and your face was everywhere. You know, that's just one of those things where that fucking green envy monster pops out of people and they get so mad.
But it's also, I'm a comic. I know what you're making fun of. If there was a show called, Rita with some girl holding a beach ball,
right,
like being sassy, I would make fun of it too. It was like, I was young and it's like as a comedian, you get an offer like that.
How old were you when you got Whitney?
27.
27. Damn.
Yeah.
That's crazy. You have your own show at 27.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to hire all my friends. I fought really hard, even though I had no power. You know, I wrote the part for Chris D'Elia, and I said, I don't want to do this without him. Not that I even had any of that power at the time. You know, of course, they want to cast like these actors that have been on 9 shows and that have been on a bunch of failed shows. You're like, why do I want someone that's or people have voted they don't want to see? He was on this
year was it that you started doing stand-up?
2004.
So you were only doing stand-up for a short period of time. How many years before you got your show?
6.
That's wild.
7.
That's wild.
Wild. I was doing the roasts. I was a writer for the roasts.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was on the roasts, and Comedy Central I never got Premium Blend, or I never got Gotham. I never got New Faces in Montreal, which really quick, just a joke that you might appreciate that I wrote for Joan Rivers at the Joan Rivers roast, but didn't tell. This is kind of an inside comedy thing. Joan Rivers has had so much work done on her face. Every year she books Montreal New Faces. And so then I did the Joan Rivers roast, and I did so well that Comedy Central offered me a half hour, and then I just was like, I want to do an hour. Because, they said no to me so many times. So
right.
As soon as I had leverage, I just was like...
Right, use it.
Fuck this. Yeah, because also then, when comedians complain about their clips being, broken up on Instagram or their stand-up being broken up, I always try to go like, remember when we were on Comedy Central and they would break up our specials 7 minutes and then a 4-minute commercial and then 5 minutes? They would just arbitrarily break it up anywhere. And you only actually had 42 minutes to actually do stand-up.
Yeah, and your set was fucked up because, like, sometimes those bits would continue after the commercial break, and people would forget what the fucking premise is. And if people were just tuning in, they had no idea. They didn't give a shit. They just shoved those commercials in there.
I remember my it's like an Adam and Eve, and you're like, cool. Like, I remember I used to, my second Comedy Central special, I remember trying to time it 7 minutes, punchline, killer, and do, like, 3 mini sets with little closers instead of one big set.
Yeah.
Because of the way they would cut it up.
To be 27 and you have your own show is so crazy.
Crazy.
It's so like, so much pressure. That must have been like really overwhelming and weird.
Well, because I think at that point you think more is more in terms of press, publicity, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, just keep doing it. Do it all.
But it's also, I didn't realize how, it's interesting the way that, whether it's our business or just people in general, they look at comedians as kind of these children that need to be babysat instead of these mature adults that have gone all around the country and, comported ourselves. Actually, we act like silly gooses sometimes, but we really have our shit together. What we do is not easy. So going in and when they were making the billboards and stuff, I was like, you guys, this looks like a cheesy sitcom from this looks like Veronica's Closet. Like this looks like a Fran Drescher show from the 80s. It was like, because it was multicam, it was like purple font, and I didn't know what I was doing. They do those photo shoots with you and they're like, make this face, like do this, and I'm like, and I was like painted as like the finger wagging like annoying girlfriend.
Oh no.
But the show was like a role reversal. It was about me, someone who had come from 3 divorces and was actually commitment phobic, but in love with someone and trying to figure out how to like someone who's kind of feral, trying to be domesticated to be in a normal relationship. And and it was, people loved it. They couldn't get past the multicam of it, and which is weird because I feel like multicam is so respected in one way. Cheers and
well, explain to people what that means. It means you did it in front of a live audience.
Sure, like when you shoot show in front of a live studio audience. Roseanne.
So who couldn't get
Cosby
past
show.
that? What do you mean they couldn't get past that?
I think people were so mad that I like existed that they couldn't. It was like, well, that's a laugh track.
They were mad that you existed.
Maybe.
That's interesting. So it's just, who are these people?
I don't know. I think
like critics or other comics. Like, what do you?
I don't know. It was a I did 2 multicams that year, shows in front of a live studio audience, the Whitney show and then Two Broke Girls. Two Broke Girls was on CBS. It was beloved and ended up going for 6 seasons. That was a show that had other multicams, 2.5 Men, Big Bang Theory, Mike and Molly. So that was
the network was already sort of set up for that.
And anyone watching that network is already
King Queens. Yeah.
I followed The Office and Community on.
Oh, I see. So they were used to single cam things being shot kind of like a movie.
I think the Inside Cool Kids Club was like, what's this like?
I got news for you. That club sucks. And those people that are in that club are all cunts. The Inside Cool Kid Club, those are assholes pretending to not be assholes.
Well, you know what else?
They're douchebags pretending to be kind and considerate.
And the irony is like it's a lot of Harvard guys. It's like Harvard Lampoon guys.
Well, some of the best writers. Yeah. I've met a lot of great writers from Harvard. It's kind of amazing how many good, like a lot of the guys from News Radio were Harvard guys.
Oh, interesting. That Lampoon thing, right?
Well, they're just, really smart guys who became, that you got sort of ushered into this group, and it was a great way to like use that intellect and that love of comedy and comedy writing. And it was already like a clearly established path, like Paul Simms had come through there and all these different, and when they came through, it's like there was other ones that had already paved the path. So it was like, oh, I'll just go on to write for sitcoms.
Right.
And then hey, this guy's really funny. We'll hire him. He was also in, the Lampoon.
But you're not better than me because you went to Harvard. We're both telling dick jokes.
Well,
we're both doing dick jokes here, guys.
That is always a part of Harvard, right? A part of Ivy League education is that, some people are going to feel like they're elite.
Right.
Which is fine if you're doing elite work, but there's a lot of people that were just not, but they had the attitude.